So next we have Kelli McNamara, and Kelli is the Indiana local business leader for WSP USA. She also serves as project manager on a variety of projects, including pavement rehabilitation, new roadway alignment, and multi-use path projects. Much of Kelli's background is in interstate or freeway facilities, having worked on 3 sections of the southwest extension of I-69 in Indiana, as well as other freeway projects in Indiana and neighboring states. Kelli will be discussing her most recent interstate project, I-69, Section 6, Segment 3. Kelli?
All right. Thanks, everybody. So section I-69 segment 6.3, that's kind of an odd name. To explain the name, it's good to get an idea of how it fits into the bigger picture. And so in the 1991, Congress announced a new highway system, and with that, they announced 6 corridors of the future. One of them being an I-69 corridor that extended from Canada to Mexico. At the time, I-69 only existed from Port Huron, Michigan, which is at the Canadian border, down to the northeast side of Indianapolis. With the announcement of the overall I-69 corridor, an I-69 extension through southwest Indiana took shape. In March of 2004, we received a record of decision for the preferred I-69 extension. And that extension was at a 142-mile corridor. And within that record of decision, 6 distinct sections were identified. Today, sections 1 through 5 are complete. And now the 6th section and the final section, also known as I-69 finish line, is in various phases of design and construction. So section 6, it is about 26 miles long, and it extends from Martinsville, Indiana, up to Indianapolis. It is on existing State Road 37 alignment, which is currently a 4-lane divided highway. And so the project is a lot about upgrading that highway to interstate standards. It is divided into 5 design segments. The first design segment, segment 1 down in Martinsville, started construction in 2019. And construction of the entire Section 6 corridor is expected to be complete by the end of 2024. So this project is in Section 6. It is the 3rd segment, and therefore we call it 6.3. So segment 6.3 is 6 miles long. It is the only segment in Section 6 that is primarily a pavement rehab section rather than full depth pavement replacement. We are widening the shoulders to meet interstate standards. We're grading the ditches, extending the culverts. We have 2 overpass bridges and then 2 twin sets, or 4 total main bridges within our segment. And then to maintain connectivity, we designed and constructed 3 frontage roads. So the schedule got tricky pretty quick. We were awarded the project in 2018 and received notice to proceed in January of 2019. Initially, it was said construction just needs to be complete by the end of 2024. But then we quickly learned that the segment through Martinsville would be constructed, the mainline portion would be constructed under full closure of State Road 37 in 2021. Running the numbers, we realized that if we also did our mainline construction in 2021, we would only have to maintain 1 lane in each direction because of the reduced traffic due to the full closure. This would save NDOT a lot of money in temporary pavement widening. So we wanted to make this happen. Backing up from that, we had to have all of our offline construction completed in 2020. So we received NTP in January of 2019, and by October of 2019, we were submitting final tracings documents for all the offline construction. There are several unique elements to this segment. One of them is we had a bank stabilization contract as part of this segment work. So if you look at this picture, this is existing State Road 37. And the body of water is the White River. It flows towards the south. And what had been observed over many years is significant erosion along the east bank of the river, several feet per year, marching towards the state right-of-way line and the state assets. And so as part of the I-69 project, NDOT wanted to stabilize the eastern bank and also implement mitigation measures to prevent further erosion. Our design efforts included several alternatives analysis, but what we landed on was constructing 13 bendway weirs off the eastern bank of the White River. So if you aren't familiar with what a bendway weir is, I was not at the beginning of this project. They are these little kind of peninsulas of large diameter rock that are placed 50 to 70 feet off the bank of the river towards the center line. And they work to retrain the flow of the river back to the center line and away from that bank. This picture shows a 2D model of the proposed condition, and you can kind of see, so the little candlestick looking things, those represent the bendway weirs, and you can kind of see how the flow, it curtains between each of them, but it is training back towards the center line of the river. This segment also had a historic eligible property within our segment limits, and during the environmental process, it was discovered that you could see the I-69 from the second story of the home. And so the mitigation efforts that we implemented were two things. We planted some trees to provide vegetative screening. Eventually, not initially, but eventually that'll grow to provide that screening of I-69 from the second story. And then we also put together the nomination so that this property would officially be on the National Register. So one of the things I think is really impressive, not just about our I-69 6.3, but also just really the whole I-69 corridor. There have been several women in prominent leadership positions the entire way over the last decade. 6.3 has an especially high concentration of females in leadership from all sides. NDOT project managers were female. We had several prominent people from the environmental agencies. And then WSP, as well as our teaming partners, we all had females in leadership roles. The face of our industry has changed significantly over the last 2 decades, and it's really exciting that a project so as prominent as 69 really exhibits that change. So some of the challenges, schedule obviously was a challenge, as I noted earlier. And then there was an intricate level of coordination had to happen. Just our segment produced 3 construction contracts. 2 of them had to be coordinated with the adjacent design segments. We had plans and specs all going into the same construction package. Also, right-of-way was being purchased as we were designing. And so right-of-way and utilities were talking all the time. As we would get a big swath purchase, then utility coordination would get the utilities out there to get moving and out of the way before construction. And then, of course, we had the typical coordination with the local communities as well as emergency services. So overcoming these challenges, holding a risk matrix, developing a risk matrix, and constantly checking in on the mitigation efforts of the risk to our schedule. That was important. QA/QC is always important, but it was especially important here. We had no time for a review. And then on the coordination side, of course, we had the meetings and the file sharing platform, but I think the key to the coordination was early on, we started having a once a month breakfast with the leadership of the other design segments. And we did it to build camaraderie and share information in an informal way and build the sense that we were all in this together and success had to be achieved together. So that's a brief overview of this project. If you want to learn more about I-69 Finish Line, you can go to the i69finishline.com. And then I will put my email in the chat so that you can contact me if you have any questions about our segment. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. It is kind of interesting how sometimes COVID helped construction projects with the downswing in traffic to make things go a little easier. So
yeah,
that's really neat.